My name is Emilio. I run a team here by the name of Rehub. This type of stuff that I'm going to be covering today is stuff that I, it very much interests me. I like the psychology part of sales, and I feel like the more that you understand and know these things, the more business you will likely do. That is the type of business we want to do, right? this this is a challenging business that we're in. In the world of selling real estate, you can make your life a lot harder by working with people that you shouldn't be working with, right? And that's what's really cool about this disc assessment is that when you understand people's personality types, the more you understand these things, you'll be able to interact with people. This could be friends, family, co-workers. If you're looking to hire people, right? That's to be honest with you, this is what I'm most interested in this because I've been hiring people uh since for probably the last 15 years I've experienced hiring people, but it was not until hello, welcome guys. It was not until I want to say probably 2 years or so ago that I even understood that you needed to put people through a process. If you're looking for an admin, you should be looking for a certain personality type. These are things that can become systematic if you know what you're looking for. So I'm excited to share that stuff with you guys. Let's talk about growing you guys' business. So uh, another thing I want to point out is that I don't personally plan on trading my time for money for the rest of my life. I don't think any of us want to, right? We want to eventually grow a real business where you have people in place that are doing things at a high level so you can start to exit your business, right? And focus on things that you really want to focus on. And let me tell you, as somebody that's hired dozens and dozens of people, this is something that's going to help you out with, again, weeding people out. Okay. So this, if you didn't do the assessment test before the class, this is going to inspire you to do the assessment test. Okay. So it's free. I can give you guys a link at the end of the class. Okay. If you don't have access to it. Okay. All right. Awesome. So let's break it down. Right. So what is a disc assessment? Right. So a disc assessment is a simple, practical, universal, and easy to understand assessment test. Right? Um, who did the current version of it? I know you did, right? So I've done disc since I started at Keller Williams. It was probably about 6, 7 years ago. It did not ask you the same questions it asks you now. They changed the format of it. It's very different. What did you think about the test itself in terms of the difficulty level of taking the test? It's a simple test. It's asking you repeatedly certain things because it is. It's trying to even caught me a few times where like, do I really feel like this about this? You know? So it's really simple. Very, very simple. So it focuses on patterns of external observable behavior. So how you act when you get presented with certain things, right? In your life, in your business. And it covers 4 styles, right? So dominance, influence, steadiness, consciousness, or compliance. That is what DISC stands for. It's an acronym, okay? Right? Dominance, influence, steadiness, and your consciousness or compliance, right? So that is what DISC actually stands for. When you take this test, you will lean in one direction of the other. You'll have a dominant, and then you'll have maybe like a subdominant. Okay. So ultimately, what the disc does is that it's great for understanding someone's ways of being on a deeper level. So for me, for example, what I've used the disc for more than anything else is if I'm going to consider somebody to hire them, I want to see not what they're telling me and showing up as, right? Because everybody's on their best behavior. Everybody's a top agent. Everybody's the most dedicated person there ever was. But we know that that's probably not true, right? So the disc allows me to save a lot of time by me seeing what somebody's really about. You guys follow me so far? Okay, awesome. So we're going to move forward now. So we're going to break down the disc so that you understand what exactly it is and what's the personality styles. So remember, DISC is an acronym, right? So you have, so pretty much Everyone that you interact with is dominant in one of these personality styles, right? When you understand the this, you not only understand yourself on a deeper level, but you understand people, right? So the dominance, right? If some of you guys know me better than other people in this room, what I mean, Mark, I'll ask you, right? What am I? I'm a dominance. Right? I'm a high D. No, dominance. Yeah, I'm very high D. Focus. I'm extremely high D. Yeah, the focus. All personality styles have a weakness and strength, right? I am a high D, up and down. You don't even need to know me, to be quite honest. You see how I move around. That's just who I am, you know? So dominance, typically, they're assertive people, focused. They make rapid decisions. They can make rapid decisions. They seek challenges and they desire to lead, right? More often than not, when people tell me about challenging clients that they're working with, more often than not, they're high Ds. They're people that now I'm applying the disc to real estate, right? These are people that when you speak to them, they only see their way or the highway, and that's it. So it's important that when you're dealing with high Ds, you know how to deal with high Ds, which is what we're going to get into next. Because the purpose of this class was to make you familiar with this and also give you tools to be able to navigate these different personality styles, okay? So that's dominance, right? That's D. So moving on to I, that's influence. So this is somebody that's outgoing, they're persuasive, they're people-oriented, strong communication skills, and they like variety. We have somebody that's a very high I in the room. Who do we think that person is? She knows that. How does she know? And come on. Super high. Super high. Super high. All right. So how high I am as being a D, Mark is at being an I. Okay? So influence. Again, I'll go think about now we put a face to the name. Outgoing, persuasive, people-oriented, strong communication skills, likes variety, likes doing different things. Okay? So let's move on. So now steadiness, right? So steadiness. Somebody that's a high S, they're a very patient person. They favor stability, right? They're structured. They're not really a risk taker. They're even pace. These are people that are even keel. Even keel, steady, right? It's literally what the letter stands for, steadiness, right? They like things to be, right? You're gonna be dominant. You're gonna be dominant in one. You're gonna have like a subdominant, right? Most people, but there are cases where your number one and number two are very far off. Which probably, like for me, I'm probably one of those people. Yeah, and when we go over this a little more deeply in the next couple slides, I think you guys are gonna start figuring out where you are, the people in your life. Like, oh damn, my mom is definitely a high I or whatever it is, you know. So the more again you start identifying people in your world, the more simpler it will become for you to do it with clients, because that's ultimately where the power is for this in real estate. It's for us to understand when we're dealing with certain clients. Oh, he's a high I. I need to. Let me step back, do certain things with him, not treat him like a high D or detail-oriented, you know. Maybe he doesn't care about the details. He just wants me to get to the point, whatever it may be, you know. So moving on to the last letter, which is compliance or I would say, is this it's conscientious. Conscientious.
So that's my high I communication.
Conscientious. Conscientious.
Yeah, you got it. You're almost there.
Conscientious.
We'll work on it after school.
All right, cool. So these people that are high I prefer compliance. That's another sub word that you can interchange. Yeah. So compliance, these are people that are fact and analysis based. They're precise and accurate, and they see value in rules, right? I think we all know people like that, where it's like, we all probably worked at a job with somebody that was very annoying because they needed to do everything exactly the way the manual was, right? Those are those people. It's like, hey, the manager, they said to do it this way. And you're like, I'm not doing this is easier. I'm going to do it this way, right? So compliance. Think about compliance. I don't even know how to say the other word, but you guys get it. Conscientious.
Conscientious.
Conscientious. All right, cool. So that's that. So I cannot stress how powerful it is to understand and utilize this information in your business. I preach so much, especially in the ALC meetings that we have with all the top agents in the office. I run my business with quality of living and peace of mind. If I see that somebody is going to jeopardize that, especially a client, I will walk right away from them. Right away from them. These things allow me to understand the people that are for me. We live in New York City. You don't need to do business with everybody that has business to be done. So make your life easier by understanding who are the people that you easily can connect with and do business with. So that's what I hope you guys leave here with, is having a better understanding of these very easy personality styles to understand. So let's move forward, right? Hey, just because we don't gel with one another, I know people that will gel with you, right? But where a lot of people mess up, especially in our business, is that they don't even know how to communicate with those people to get them to the point that they'll trust them to be referred somewhere, right? So knowing this information is doing that at a higher level, right? First is probably the step is, hey, I don't want to do the business. Now is next is, hey, I'm so skilled at knowing and understanding this that when I meet a high D, that's not my client, but I can speak to a high D and I can point them this direction. Yeah. And now I'm getting a quarter of the deal opposed to getting zero, right?
But it's also because I'm referral based, so I don't want to piss this person off that was referred to me by Emilio. Like Melissa came to Emilio, and there's also that layer, right? I want to make sure I've done my part, that Emilio's happy that he referred someone, even if I can't service them, right? So correct. There's a win-win on that end too.
Definitely. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna get into the each personality style, and we're gonna get more specific now, right? I wanted to again kind of slow walk you to understand what a disc is, which is what we cover so far, and then what each of the letters personality style it represents. Now we're gonna get specific into each of them, okay? So let's move forward. So dominance, right? High D's. We're gonna talk about high D's, right? As we already kind of mentioned earlier, I'm a good example of a high D, okay? So high D, right? Their strengths, they're leaders in business and social. Typically, right? They have administrative and delegation skills. These are people that, again, they're usually in some sort of leadership role. They're good at passing, certain tasks and jobs to people. They can also do administrative work at a high level if they choose to do so. And these are people that pride themselves on making things happen, right? Okay, so that's what a high D, that's their strengths. With all strengths, there comes weaknesses, right? So weaknesses, high Ds are usually very impatient. They want you to get kind of to the point. Remember, think about those tough clients that are just always speaking over you. Or those people, they're impatient. They want you to get straight to the point. Be concise. Don't speak to them in long. Even the thought of that drives me crazy. Like somebody sits down and it's just like too wordy. They're telling me a story that they could have told me in a sentence or two, but they turned into a 30-minute conversation. That drives me through the wall or through the roof. I can't. Yes, a D to D. This is something that I've had to do a lot of personal work on, because being impatient, being stubborn, those are not great qualities, but this is the thing that I felt held me back as much, held me back to the point that I knew that I needed to make a difference in it if I wanted to get to the level that I want to get to. And this is about high Ds. One of their biggest weaknesses is they have a low tolerance for feelings of other people. The people around them, their friends, their family, their coworkers, Mark, you know this, we've talked about this about myself. It's not necessarily we don't care. We don't ask. It's not a thought. We don't have time to care. Exactly. That's a great way. So high D doesn't think they have the time to talk about your feelings. So it makes them seem cold. They're not people that sit down with you and purposely get into a therapy session. They're not those people. They're going to be like, no, you're making me feel uncomfortable. I need to move. I need to go. I need to sell something. I need to work. These people, they want to do. right?
Can I just tell you a quick anecdote? Sorry, as the high I that I am. I spoke to a salesman maybe 2 or 3 months ago who I clearly identified right away as a high D. And then as he's listening to me, I stopped myself and said, by the way, you're a really skilled salesperson. He was like, why do you say that? Because I was like, because I know you're a high D, but you're letting me talk.
Yeah.
It's like, he identified me as a high I and just let me go. And he learned the patience that you're learning.
Yeah.
He mastered the patience of going, all right, this is a high I. I'm going to let him talk.
Do their thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, big time. Big time. My girlfriend's high. I made her do this assessment. And she was like, yeah. And she's, oh, big time. And she's like, oh, man. And then when I said when I get into I next, because she's like you. I won't spoil it. Wait till we get the next one. But she was like, oh, my God, I get it now. This is like, it was good. It was good. So, all right. So those are weaknesses for high D, right? How to connect with a high D. You allow them open space to vent. Remember, they don't talk about their feelings. It's usually because they don't feel comfortable or the space to be able to talk about how they feel. So you want to give them the space to vent. It goes a really long way in a high D's world if you allow them to let the guard down. So when you're dealing with a high D, you may want to ask like a very powerful emotion-based question and just be quiet and let them run. That's going to make them feel like after they're done venting, they're going to turn into a different person. So again here, ask powerful and concise questions to disarm them and just listen. This will go a long way in connecting with a high D. Because again, they don't naturally do this. So when you do that, then it makes them feel like they don't have to be so strong, right? So that's a great way to connect with a high D, all right? So let's move forward. Let's go into influence, okay? Yes?
I have a question. So, did you make any case in person have all personality? Which one is? A little de each one?
You study this stuff enough. I mean, the reason I wanted to teach this class is I know and use this often, but when you teach something, you're forced to learn it more, right? Because you want to feel like you know how to explain it to others. So I like doing this because it made me more familiar with, oh, I know that, but I don't maybe apply it, right? You got to see something sometimes multiple times. It's like advertising, right? They say usually you need to see something 7 times before you might see it for real or buy it. So me getting even more familiar with this, which is what I'm encouraging you guys to do, is that the more you understand this, the easier it is to navigate life. If again, because you guys came in a little bit afterwards, it's a free assessment. I sent the link to you guys' email, but if you don't have it, all you need to do is go on Google, type in Tony Robbins DISC. It's on Tony Robbins' website. It's free. It takes 10 minutes to do this. So definitely do it, And again, you're going to start realizing a lot of things about yourself and other people, okay? So influence, right? We talked a little bit about this. We have somebody in the room, Mark, again, that is rather high in I. So we're gonna use Mark as a guinea pig, okay? So influence. So if somebody is a high I, they're typically their strengths influencing others in a positive way. They're usually idea leaders. Idea leaders are people that come to the table with big and grand ideas. They're idea people. Big idea people. Big idea people, right? Okay? They're always optimistic. It's literally this guy right here.
No, life sucks.
Mark told me all the time. I remember seeing me around the office and seeing me with my grumpy face all the time. He's like, come on, man, cheer up, man. What's wrong with you? What are you so angry about? What's going on? It's not I'm angry. I'm just always focused on what I'm doing because I'm such a high D. It usually takes people to speak to me, and then they start realizing I'm not an asshole. It's okay. It's okay. But as you know these things, right, you start understanding who you are. Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, you can't have it all, right?
Well, I will say, going through this process teaches you to be more empathetic.
Oh, big time.
Right? I totally don't run to judgment calling people assholes the way I used to. like, oh, what a bitch, what an asshole, what a this. I was like, oh man, they must be going through this.
Yeah.
And this is their personality.
Yep. Amen. So those are the strengths for a high I, right? So now we're going to go into weaknesses. High I's,
I don't believe it.
high I's, because of their strengths, it makes them prone to usually wanting to have a need for approval.
Let's see it.
They want people to approve their ideas. They want people to approve their thought process. It's very important to them that they get approval from people. Okay? Because remember, influence, right? Think about it like that, right? If you're an influencer, but you're not influencing anybody, you're going to probably feel like crap. So it's simple as that. No, seriously, right? Think about even social media, right? If hey, I'm an influencer, but you got 5 followers. You're not an influencer. You probably feel you're probably upset about that, right? So the other thing about people with high I's is that they have short attention spans.
I'm sorry, what?
Right? So yeah, so that is right. So let's now bring this into real estate, right? If I know I'm dealing with a high I and the client is a high I, right? I know that they want to feel like they bring ideas to the table. So I might not tell them, hey, this is what I think we should do about this deal. Then I might start planting ideas. Hey, how do you feel about this offer that we just got? Like, what do you feel about it? Right? I might do some steering opposed to, hey, I'm planting the idea. It's not going to work. It's not going to go well. And then when their idea gets to the point that maybe it makes sense mutually, hey, that's a great idea. I just inflated you now, right? So these are the types of things that, again, you start paying attention to so that you can utilize it to do your business at a high level, right? Short attention span. I'm not going to go to a high I seller client of mine and tell them about 20 offers that we have. That will not benefit me or them. Hey, what is the lowest offer that you're willing to entertain? Anything under 950, I don't need to see it. Perfect. 10 of these, garbage. Hey, we're going to go over these 5. That's cool. I just gave them what they want. They want things to be in a short attention span. We're not going to bog you down with all these details, right? So, because again, if you do that, you're going to lose their attention and then they get bored. Mark, do you easily get bored?
I'm sorry. I'm falling asleep here. You know what I do? I've had to literally work on all those 3 things I've been consciously working on them for like 15 years. The need for approval, I'm kind of good, but I think that's just turning 50.
Yeah.
The short attention span, I've gotten better. Easily bored is a challenge.
Yeah. It's real. Because again, if you have these strengths, they almost complement each other, right? Right? If you know that you're an idea leader and you're influential, those things are probably going to come with them if you're not doing the work to actually change it. Let me tell you, most people aren't doing it. Mark is in a business where he's always trying to progress and become a better person and a better businessman. Most people aren't realtors that are high I's. They're just high I's living the world, not knowing that they're high I's. So that's the part where you want to know that they don't know that they're easily bored. You see, he's aware of that. They don't. So these are the things that you being in a position, if you want to put yourself in a more powerful position, knowing these things allows you to have easier communication with people, right? So how to connect with a high I, right? You express to a high I how much you like and enjoy their company. If you tell Mark that you love his company and you love to hear him talk, you are A-OK in his book. He's going to be like, Anna, I love you. What do you mean? You love what I... Right? The second sentence is extremely crucial to connecting with a high I. Let them talk. Let them talk.
So, I was a young professional.
That's hilarious. Yeah. Look, she just tricked you. She just used it.
You're getting 25% my next 3 deals.
You see, he's kidding, but it worked. You see, you just use it. Hey, you gave him approval. You say, hey, I like your company. I like the way you speak, right? These are the things they love the most to hear. And again, if you allow them to talk. So that being said, right? So let them talk. This will go a long way in connecting with a high I. Okay. So be cognizant to that. We have high eyes and high eyes. They're out there, you know, especially in our world in real estate and things like that. So be cognizant. I would say the high I's and the high D's, we're gonna come across them a lot in our business. So these are the ones that you definitely want to understand a lot about. And again, how to connect with them is the important part. Okay.
Well,
So
can I just say that you just gave me a big aha. Are we allowed to throw aha?
of course, man. Yeah.
So this is great now because I'm gonna take this to, for me, as my team is doing what they're doing, and if I have to add anybody or anything, I'm gonna look who's gonna complement the team, personality-wise, with their strengths, right?
No,
Because,
I love that.
Obviously, if I were to look for a partner, it would have to be a D.
Yeah.
Because I'm not hitting on S and C yet.
Yeah.
But I'm like a D because they're gonna complement my strengths.
100%.
And I'm gonna complement theirs, right?
Yeah.
So
Big time.
This is good.
Big time. And you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly why I said that understanding this is only going to benefit you. It's going to be your work partners, your family, your friends, your spouses, if you're single, or even knowing about who you might be in a relationship with right now. Maybe you're not all the way familiar that they're a high I and you need to be letting them talk more. And maybe you guys are having friction because you keep stopping them from talking or whatever it is, you know? So this stuff is very powerful. You know, I don't say that lightly. So moving forward, let's move on to S. Let's move on to steadiness, right? Steadiness. So steadiness. The strengths of somebody that is a high S, they're easy to get along with. These people are easy to get along with. They are executors. They make things happen. They like a steady and secure environment. Okay? The reason why steady people are easy to get along with, remember, look at the actual word, steady. I want to not rock the boat. Right? I don't want to rock. I might hate your guts, but I'm not going to make that be known because I don't rock the boat. I'm steady. I like steadiness. Okay? So weakness is somebody that is high S. They will stick with unfavorable patterns to avoid risk. See, right? There's give and take. Hey, this person always gets along with everybody. But then somebody else in the room might say, hey, I'm not really too fond of that person because they never really speak their mind. Right? You've heard of interactions that happen like that, right? One person, I love them because they're like, hey, that person is there, even kill. They're easy to deal with. I don't need to like worry that they're going to cause problems. But somebody else is like, hey, but I think they're sneaky because they don't really talk about how they feel. Right? So high S, that's something to be cognizant of. Again, they will stick with unfavorable patterns to avoid taking risks. That might be somebody that's been at the same job for 20 years. I have family members like that are high S. They don't like to rock the boat. They know they're getting paid what they need to get paid. They're not trying to go up or down. They just want to stay right here.
Right. And they're willing to settle with the results, right?
Exactly.
That's the unfavorable. Yeah. That's the avoiding risk.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then lack of assertiveness. Again, they're not going to give you too much. They're not going to give you too much energy, too much pushback. None of that. Steadiness. Staying steady.
Are these the people that like? They're the first ones who want to conform, right? Like, if everybody's wearing a suit to work, they'll wear a suit in the safest color kind of thing. They don't want to rock even that boat. I'm asking.
I mean, when it comes to, because S and I could get S and C, you could get confused a little bit with. C, when we go over, you'll understand the difference. They're process people. Right. S people are people. That's the big distinction. C people, you'll see, keep me away from people. S people, I can deal with people, but no rock the boat. I'm even killed. I'm that person in the back that's like, that's what everybody wants to do. All right, cool, let's do it. That's the S. That's the high S.
Would you consider, because the unfavorable patterns thing, would you consider that like the one who follows even the bad influences, right? Like say in
it could be toxic big time. That could be somebody in a toxic relationship.
It's a criminal the second criminal, not the leader of the criminal. You know, we're just.
Oh yeah.
I'd be just getting into the bad shit, but not because not because they're necessarily bad people. It's just that this is how their peer group has gone. So they kind of follow. I'm asking.
It could be. I mean, when you're talking about something that's like unethical or immoral, that's a little bit of a different thing. I don't know that I jumped that far to try to lump that in. But if it's something that's not something that's gonna completely change their lives, more often than not, they're gonna fit the mold. They're gonna fit the mold. That's why I gave the example of like, that one cousin that's just always down. They never opinionated about the fact that maybe they don't want to do it, but they just like, hey, oh, you guys are doing it? All right, cool. I'm doing it too. Okay? So this will, I think, bring it home, right? How to connect with a high S. So take it nice and easy with a high S. They don't like to be pushed. You're not going to get to a high S by being, come on, man, you never talk about how you feel. Come on, man, talk about how you feel. What's going on? That's not going to work. You're going to actually make the person, push away from you. You want to provide a safe and secure environment to make a high I feel at home. A high S is a typo. I'm sorry. A high S to feel at home, right? So, again, these people, when you know that you're dealing with a high S, you want to, because you can't make them not be a high S. So you create an environment that makes them feel like things are kind of, again, even.
Yeah, it's a typo.
It is. I'm sorry. Yeah, you know what it is? When you put I recognize because that's proper grammar. You just put one letter, it changes it and thinks it's I. So apologies about that. But yes, it's supposed to be an S. All right. So that is a high S. I haven't had a tremendous amount of experience with meeting a super duper high S that isn't very close and dominant in something else. But of course, these people, they exist. It seemed like you guys, it resonated with you as well about what an S is, right? So when you understand C, which is what we're going to go over next, it's going to let you, it's going to make it easier for you to differ between the two. So let's do this again. Conscientious.
Yeah!
Conscientious.
That was it.
All right. Or compliance, right? So this is somebody that's high C. So high C's, remember I was saying a little bit about this? They're not people. They're task-oriented people, right? So a high C is the dependable to get things done alone, right? They're accurate people. You know who's great if you're looking to hire an admin? Somebody that's a high C. You need an admin? If you're gonna hire somebody virtually in person, you know what I do? I make them do a disc. I want to see them. I want to see a high C. I definitely want to see a high C. These are people that are self-sufficient. They don't want to deal with people. They want to deal with tasks. They like to do things on their own. They don't need people to do things. And they prefer not to have the social aspect. Do you guys, anybody in the room, think of anybody in your life, right? That maybe is a high C? Yeah? Okay.
I would say Cyberbacker makes them take like a KPA.
Exactly.
So then they have
I want to see that again. These people are self-sufficient. They can kind of do things on their own. Because again, administrative task, that's really what that is, right? Just sit down and do the data entry or whatever it is. These people, they're perfect for that. So weakness. So they're not people-oriented, as I mentioned to you, right? They'll feel uncomfortable if you put them in a room with a bunch of people they don't know. Those are probably the people, if you ever go to like an event, and those people that are just like by themselves in the corner, they might be a high C. They might just be there because somebody invited them. Those are those people. It's like, hey, my boss, he told me I had to be here. Those are those people, right? So they will avoid sharing unless it is a need to know. And that's why, again, if you're hiring an assistant or somebody going to be doing administrative work, it makes sense to hire a high C. Because, again, they will do the job at a high level. And when it's something that you have to know, that's when they'll disclose whatever they need to disclose. Okay? So how to connect with a high C? You put them in a position to win by providing tasks that allow independence. So I'm gonna have a high C do things that they don't need other people to do. That might be video editing, things like this. But don't have them doing so. Like, I'm not. If I notice somebody's a high C, I'm not gonna have them as an ISA, right? They'll be having to call people and speak to people. That's literally the opposite of what they should be doing. But let me tell you, somebody that's in a position to hire people and they don't know DISC and personality assessment, these things could happen. You could put somebody in the wrong role. That is the reason why knowing this stuff is very important. And again, making people do these assessments if you're going to work alongside them, right? So,
Maybe a question.
yeah,
In my results,
we're going to go over that. I don't want to hear. Yeah, I'm sorry, not to cut you off. The next slide, we're going to talk about people's results. I'm going to share you my results as well. So you allow a high C to create and perfect processes, right? So if I'm gonna again work with a high C, I would entrust of them to create systems for me. These people would be great for that. Hey, I'm gonna go into your business and dissect all the things you're doing right and wrong, and then I can find a way for you to duplicate it. That's what a high C would do. So again, these people, for if you need those things, you want to pay attention, try to find these type of people. All right. So that being said, that's the DISC. Those are the DISC. That's the different personality traits and styles. So now I want to talk to you guys about my DISC, but I'd love to start with whomever did a DISC in the room. Anna, you were just about to say something. Go ahead. Yeah.
My results, I don't know which one I am because it says your DISC style is coach. What does that mean? What category is that? DIS
or C? Oh, you know what it is? Because now they did like this paid thing. So you do the basic one, and then they give you a summary. But the paid version, I think, breaks down your graph on your DISC. So if you really want to do it, I don't know how much it is exactly. You will need to pay for it to do it, or do another disc. I think there's another platform to do free disc. I'm gonna look into that for you guys, and I'll let you know. But coach, you're high. You're probably your eye. Yeah, yeah. The reason I know specifically that one because why don't you read what the paragraph right underneath, coach? Yeah, read it.
Coaches bring a great trait as they actively listen to others and provide sincere support for their efforts. They bring sensitive insight when engaging with others and can make solid contributions without demanding to be the center of attention. Coaches can diffuse tense situations with their insightful observations about the big picture and both individual and group goals. They show both stability and engagement with others, and they can increase effectiveness with a bit more urgency and more specific direction to others.
Thanks, coach.
What do you have you read the rest of like the breakdown? How accurate do you feel like that was? What do you think? What was your analysis on your disc?
Yeah, I feel like it says that we're very sensitive, very unselfish. We avoid confrontation. We're always looking for solutions, and I believe that my personality is very much like that. Like I'm a former teacher, so I'm used to diffuse difficult situations and provide solutions. And we try not to be the center of attention, but by helping others, we have that nature of helping others, and it gives us a rush with that helping others. So yeah, I identify myself with that.
So on your graph, I would imagine you're gonna have high I, and you're gonna also have like a relatively high S as well. It's a blend of those things for you in terms of what you just finished explaining, right? Because even look at it like influencing others, right? You can't be a coach if you can't influence people. Literally, you can't. They don't. You're not a coach then, right? It's the same way you can't be. Yeah, right. Teachers, you have to. Yeah. You would have to influence people, right? But again, the part where you talk about not necessarily being the center of attention in things. This is where it is that you having a mix of your I and then I'm sorry, your high S, where it's like, hey, I can coach and do these things, but I also there's some steadiness that I also would like in my experience. So it's a blend of that. Because again, you could be dominant in one, but you're gonna have some influence from the other personality styles as well. So Did anybody else do a disc? Go ahead. What's up, buddy? It tells you your disc style. Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Hers says coach. I'm anything that tells me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Broken.
Let me see.
Oh no.
Yeah, sure.
Don't walk away going through your text.
No, yeah, you can sit there.
I have nothing with sharing, so it's okay.
You have to download the results. That's first.
I did.
Oh, you did. All right, hold on. Let's open and downloads.
Maybe I can do it for you.
Yeah, it's one of those files there.
Did anybody else do it?
Why
Abel
did it
did.
give me
Abel's being steady. and
There's a
quiet.
blue button at the last page that tells you to download your results. That's where you really see it. Oh, perfect. The first page looks like this.
Yeah.
When you download the blue, it looks like. The front page looks like this. You hit a blue button that says download my results. All right, so try to listen to this objectively, right? Okay, so your disc style is Explorer. I already probably know which but I'm sorry. Go ahead. So explorers are creative change agents. They bring decisiveness, a sense of urgency, an eye on quality, control to their projects. Explorers can spin many plates and projects simultaneously. There are two goals on their radar: quick results and high quality. When they achieve both, it's great, but sometimes these two goals may be an either-or situation. Explorers make routine decisions very quickly, but become more cautious on bigger, riskier ones. Explorers appreciate a wide berth of authority to carry out their responsibilities. How accurate do you feel like that is to who you are?
Is it bad to say I don't really know myself too well?
I mean, I don't think that's a bad thing.
Maybe it is. Maybe it's not.
Okay.
When answering the questions, some were really easy and some I had to really ponder.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, think about this. All right, so do you ever find yourself becoming indecisive? Or yeah?
I can be indecisive, but I could also be very decisive. It depends.
What it is?
Yeah.
Okay. So, but if you're indecisive, you're gonna withdraw.
Probably gonna overthink it.
But you'll withdraw. I mean, for you to overthink, you probably don't need to be around people. You're probably gonna like get.
Yeah, I don't need
Okay, cool. All right, so that's what it's saying. that's what it's saying. So, yeah, you like a sense of firm direction, preferably. That's where you could probably be more decisive. Like, hey, this is firm. This makes sense to me. All right, I'm willing to do this. So, what I would recommend, read this report. You're gonna recognize a lot of things. That doesn't mean that 100% of the things you're gonna agree with, but it's going to give you some level of self-awareness, because we do go through things in life and things change us a bit, right? I don't think there's anything outside of God that could tell us, hey, this is exactly who you are. These are the things you do, right? There's things in here. It's like, Mark, you were talking.
See, I was spoken to my wife. She thinks she knows. I don't.
Yeah, right.
It's God in my life.
Yeah, that's different. Wives are a different story.
What were you gonna say?
What's that?
Which one of the letters were you gonna say this one?
Oh, based on the Explorer, I would say S. I think there's immediately upon me reading some of those things, it seemed like more. If I had to pick a dominant, it might be S. But again, read it more thoroughly, and again, you can pay for the full report that gives you the graphs on your DISC. Because really, they wanted to draw you in, and they just changed that. It didn't used to be like that. It used to give you all the graphs. You say, oh, you're high in this or you're low in this. But they're just trying to draw you in so that Tony Robbins gets paid. But I would recommend, I'm sure it's just a couple of dollars. I would say it's worth it. Unless you, again, can find the older disc for free somewhere. So definitely look into that. Let me share with you guys mine. Mine came up as a finisher. Yeah, my disc style. Okay? So like how he had Explorer and you had a Coach. And like I told you, I had my girlfriend and she came on coach too.
Mix.
Yeah. Oh, did you?
Mix.
Okay. All right. So finishers demonstrate a high interest and quality control behind the work being done. Finishers show an amazing ability to focus on results and maintain their own accountability on processes. Because finishers have a high opinion on the quality of their own work, they can either do a task themselves or politely take back a delegated task so that it's done correctly. Finishers operate a high efficiency and appreciate acknowledgement and rewards for their efforts. So that's like in a nutshell the style that they're saying that I am, right? Finisher. I would say majority of these things I find to be true. I think the last sentence for me is becoming something that's not really important to me. I don't really care too much these days about rewards and accomplishments, or I'm sorry, acknowledgement. But it is something that used to be important to me. So there might be some remnants of that, right? Because they ask you the same question 10 times. They're going to diagnose if this is something that's important to you.
Well, on that note, because considering that has become less important to you, should we expect that every few years a disc would change?
100%.
Right, as
Yeah.
you change.
100%. Yeah.
Because I definitely
Yeah.
know I'm not the same guy I was
No,
5,
no,
10
no.
years ago.
No. I agree. Yeah, it's gonna change. It's gonna change. I mean, if the disc is great to do repeatedly, I would very much also encourage you if you want to get super duper thorough, the KPA. Every 6 months, I think Keller Williams allows us to do it because it is paid. If you haven't done a KPA since you started or the last 6 months, do a KPA. It is actually the thing with the KPA that's different between the disc is that this is universal. I could use this concepts with any single human being. The KPA is more for self, right? Because you're not going to have your client do a KPA, right? So that's the reason why there's the difference. If you are wanting to know more about yourself and specifically how your real estate business, you can operate at a higher level because you're going to learn your real estate strengths, do the KPA. And every time I do my KPA, it changes completely because the cool thing about the KPA is that every single type of employment that exists in the real estate business, think about it, right? There's a lot of things in our world we don't realize, right? Ali's a team lead. That's a different position. Amanda, she's an assistant team leader, right? There's the real estate agent. There's the real estate broker. There's operations, right? Director of operations. There's the MCA. There's a lot of things in our world. We just always just think about real estate agent. The cool thing about the KPA is that it's going to tell you based on your personality what job you should really have. Hey, listen, maybe you're a realtor, but you really should be pushing papers and doing MCA work. So I very highly recommend do your KPA because that role is going to change. Like me, when I did mine originally, it was a mega agent. It was like, oh, you're a mega agent. Like this guy for sure. You can sell real estate in your sleep. You can sell water to a whale. Like you do this in your sleep. But now, when I last did mine, it was in leadership. It was, hey, maybe your OP. So these things change over time. So you definitely want to continuously do these assessment tests and see what what changes in your personality.
How
For sure.
do you think we should?
I would say every 6 months. Every 6 months. Or at least once a year. Because it will change. It will change. And if it doesn't change, I'd be a little concerned because I'll be like, what am I doing exactly? Right? So definitely highly, highly recommend that. I think for the most part, that was it. Yeah, I think that was it. So, are there any questions that you guys have? Right, it was pretty straightforward.
Yeah, no, it was great.
All right, cool.
No question. You are
Yeah.
a great teacher.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
I guess the only question is, how did you progress in your application of DISC with when it comes to meeting people? Was it like intentional and conscious in the beginning? Like I'm gonna spend 66 days going,